Well, the Three Houses review has taken a little while, so might as well talk about something tangentially related to make up for the long wait. So the latest Smash Bros. Presentation aired a few hours ago, at least as of this writing, revealing that Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses is going to be the final character of the first Fighter Pass for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, coming out later this January, and people are not happy about it. Also some Mii Fighter skins, a new stage, and some music, but that's not what's making everybody produce more salt than the Sifto Mine. Because it's yet again another Fire Emblem character. In of itself, people being angry about this choice was not much of a departure from the usual. My own disappointment with the announcement aside, I'll get to that later, one of the most common complaints, even among people who love Smash Ultimate, is that so much of the roster is dominated by men and very pointy swords of varying sizes.
And you wield the sword as well?
Not that the anger justifies harassing Sakurai on Twitter, but I digress. Ignoring that said criticism is often a surface level critique about the aesthetics of the roster and not the actual mechanics, i.e. most of the sword fighters in Super Smash Bros. Play very differently from one another, including the ones from Fire Emblem. Marth plays differently from Corrin, who plays differently from Ike, who plays differently from Robin, etc. What does get me about this reaction is that people are somehow shocked that a character from Three Little Pigs in the Big Bad Byleth is popping up in Super Smash Bros. To begin with. Is it unexpected that after 4 DLC characters from various third-party companies that were getting another first-party character crammed into a roster that would make Marvel vs. Capcom 2 blush? Not really. See, Super Smash Bros. Has a fairly long history of promoting the latest game in the Fire Emblem series. That's the main reason why Roy originally made their way into Melee. Their appearance was meant to promote the upcoming release of Fuendo Tsurugi in Japan, hence why Nintendo of America was considering leaving him and Marth out of the North American release. It's why Ike, despite his appearance being based off of his Path of Radiance character design, was included in Brawl. Radiant Dawn had only been released a few months prior. And it's why, more recently, Corrin was so rapidly tied into Fates as a DLC fighter in Super Smash Bros. 4, as those games were months away from releasing internationally when they were first revealed as a playable character. Perhaps more than any other series, Fire Emblem's inclusion in Smash Bros. Has always been a cynical ploy to plug the latest game in the series, which, to be clear, does not mean that this is informed by laziness or that there was no effort into making Roy, Corrin, Robin, or any other Fire Emblem characters an interesting addition in their respective Smash debuts. Anyone who's worked on a video game will tell you just how many things can and will go wrong while making one, including DLC for a game that's been out for a while. There's always a lot of work done to best represent the series when it comes to a given character in Super Smash Bros., which is, and this might sound a bit contradictory, why I'm not thrilled that Byleth was the one they went with. From a gameplay perspective, the multiple weapons is a great way to translate the more flexible approach to characters' abilities to wield them in Three Houses, and how more accessible that game is even compared to the likes of Awakening and Birthright. Based just on their moveset alone, Byleth looks like they'll be a ton of fun to play as, and if we're talking about the competitive scene, I can see this move making for some very tense edgeguarding scenarios, but that's just it. Byleth, as the, presumably, sole representative of Three Houses, only takes into consideration the gameplay portion of it, instead of another one of the title's strengths. Its writing, at least for the characters. You have some of the most fully realized and compelling characters in series history, including the trio of lords, any one of which could have worked just fine given what they were going for. Claude in particular would have been an interesting choice, given how much this moveset seems to be focusing on range, strategy, and controlling the battlefield. Plus, they would have provided an opportunity to address the lack of diversity with Nintendo's legacy franchises that permeates Ultimate's roster as it pertains to their human characters. And I include Fire Emblem in that discussion as well, with its own problematic representation of marginalized people. We'll get to that later this year, but instead we got new protagonist number 4087. Yippee. Say what you want about Joker, at least they display some personality. Frankly, if there's anything that's shocking about all of this, it's that it took this long for Three Houses' character to get an invitation. Because, as mentioned before, it has always been a cynical ploy to promote the latest entry in the series. It's not Sakurai being a fanboy out to troll the Smash fandom, or any other nonsensical conspiracies about why Byleth is chosen instead of a less well-known Nintendo character, let alone a third-party one given the additional barrier of licensing. It's ultimately, pun not intended, Nintendo's call as to who gets the opportunity to be included in Super Smash Bros. It's also their choice as to how they choose to promote their own games.
Each of the hero's relics is a weapon that appears in Fire Emblem Three Houses. They look like bones, and there's a reason for that. It's a very sad game in which your former allies become enemies, turn hostile, and try to kill you. The game has multiple routes, and the outcome of each is very different. Your experience will vary depending on the route you choose, and many of the characters you meet will adopt different roles in the story. The game's stories are told like chronicles of war, with increasingly distinct characters and engrossing scenarios. Once you've chosen a house, you guide them through their school life, and, well, you end up fighting the other houses. Plus, something made it stand out from other Nintendo products. Characters could permanently die.
Yes, very interesting. This series seems like one that people like quite a bit. After all, it stuck around for quite a while. Maybe I should pick up the latest game. And what's this? There just happened to be a new trailer that came out the same day for the upcoming DLC for Three Houses? For the record, I'm not suggesting that Nintendo planned to have Byleth as a fighter simply to promote DLC from the beginning. New content for 3 easy payments on your mortgage was already planned for 2020. It's more that the optics for this one are a little different when you know that Nintendo is the one publishing the game that the character is appearing from, even if the presentation was overall in line with previous showcases for Banjo, Joker, Terry, and so on. We are, after all, aware that these presentation videos are themselves marketing material for Super Smash Bros. That's all for now, folks. See you for the actual review of Fire Emblem Three Houses coming soon. I hope, because I have to put another review out for the series' upcoming 30th anniversary, and the channel's upcoming anniversary, and I have to put out the next episode of the Western Retrospective for Persona, and yeah, it's gonna be a busy year. Until next time, game on, my friends.
And as such, they embrace their military might. And as such, they embrace their military might. And as such, they embrace their military might.